Welcome to the Hard and Soft Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Yo, what's happening, Hard and Soft Podcast Nation? The millions
And millions
of the fans out there watching. We really appreciate the viewership, and you know who you're rolling with. Always the BIGHARD. It's me, the only one that can be this hard. Big Hard. And you know who I'm rolling with. The big vanilla Frosty, the
That's
only
right.
softie I know. My brother, Shoot Brother, tag team partner for life. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Big Softie's here in the Soft Studios doing well. Thank you, Big Hard. What an intro. Raw Netflix debut review. We're going to get into we had predictions. I think, if I'm not wrong, every one of our predictions might have went wrong.
I think they might have. I don't know.
Yeah,
And we even predicted a match that didn't even go on, so I don't know.
Yeah. We're gonna get into that episode, but first, or that the Netflix debut yesterday. What a night! But first, I saw something on while I was kind of putting notes together for this, and I think I finally got what Dave Meltzer's all about. Because let me read you this quote, Big Hard, and I just want to get your take. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
So New Japan Pro Wrestling had a Tokyo Dome show, and here's Meltzer's headline. Dave Meltzer on Kenny Omega at Wrestle Dynasty. In quotes, it was levels above Shawn Michaels' WWE return match.
I mean, is it because it was like 20 years ago or over 20 years ago that he doesn't give credit to anything that's not
I just saw that.
new?
I saw that, and
I know we did that in the archives, and I'm trying to remember what star rating he gave that match, the street fight. I don't know, but I can't see that it was underneath a 4.
No, I think it was 4 and change, and I remember having my soft take where I was like, he got it wrong. That was 5 stars. But Meltzer just makes me laugh, man. That one made me laugh.
I mean, okay. I will give Kenny Omega his due. He is a great wrestler. He is a great in-ring talent. You know, I can't take anything against him for that. You know, he came back from the diverticulitis, and I definitely think that's good. But you know, he wrestled a no-namer. First of all, you know, the guy kind of looked like Mojo Rawley.
Dude, yeah, like you said, first off, Omega comes back. He looks like $1 million.
Yeah, he does.
The match, I didn't catch it. It looks like they went 40 minutes. I'm sure they tore it down. I saw table spots. I saw the promos before and the promos after where he's bloody. It caught, like, it was worthy of, like, a news story. It's just Meltzer comment encapsulated everything that he's about. And
I mean, he couldn't just say something like about somebody that like came back that was horrible. Like, he couldn't have even said something about Punk coming back. Like, oh, Kenny Omega was levels above Punk in his first AEW match back after 7 years. You know,
Big Hard, you getting hot?
I can accept that. Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of like, I think he just has a hot one for, you know, Kenny Omega and the fact that it was in the Tokyo Dome. You know, hey, Dave Meltzer's gonna do his Meltzer stuff, and you know, hey, it gives us something to laugh at. And like I said, I'm not taking anything away from Kenny Omega or the match in general. It was probably great.
Not at all. I just thought it was funny the way.
Yeah. Triple H
say what a match. He had to say it like that. I love
Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Come on,
exactly.
Shawn Michaels coming back after 4 years. You know, and they have this awesome. Just come on, okay. Let's move on.
Okay, it was the perfect comment to get WWE versus AEW, which makes him money. I love it. Anyway,
that's what it was, a money grab.
Yeah, I'll give you something to grab, pal, brother.
Hey.
Raw's debut on Netflix last night. We're going to get match to match. But first, I want to just talk about what you thought, Big Hard, of overall the start of the show and just the overall production and feel that the Netflix debut had last night at the Intuit Dome in LA.
Yeah, dude, that stadium is sick. The first thing I noticed was the lights. I think they have lights on like every seat or something like that. It looks pretty cool. It's a little distracting, but it definitely adds something. Like I don't know, it just adds a little aura. I'm just not used to seeing that, but that definitely was cool. The beginning of the show where they had the tarps hiding the ring and they played that video package. Oh, perfect, spot on. They had that guy painting the mural of everybody. Awesome. And then when they didn't do a countdown, but the tarps fell and there's Triple H just standing there. It was money. The production the whole night looked like $1 million, dude. It looked great. Pyro was on point. They had the smoke, the drones flying around doing like the laser shows. It was cool.
Yeah, the lights on the chairs, I get why you say they're a little distracting, because at points in the show it almost like I was double taken and saying, are there fans in those chairs, or am I like? But
it must be like on the front, like in between
and
where your legs would be. It must be right there or something.
Yeah, it's hog watching.
Oh, hey, you know us.
What a step up in production. I mean, just the camera shots, the layouts of everything. I love the fans behind the Titantron. It makes it feel like that fishbowl arena. Also, I liked the black mat. Again, I think as wrestling fans and just human beings in general, we don't like change. So when you're like, I'm going to put advertisements on a ring mat, it's weird and we boo-boo face it. But I liked the black mat. I liked it made the advertisements on the mat pop. That's probably why they did it. But it also gave the arena a dark feel of almost an independent feel, right?
Yeah.
Where you had 20,000, 18,000, but it was like the perfect blend of like, this is the big time, but still a professional wrestling show. I really thought the black mat and the lights and everything made everything pop. It was a step up in production, and I guess I underestimated, and we're going to get into this now, Big Hard, the hardest guy I know. I underestimated the WWE's strategy in making this a blow-off, go-home, standalone show.
It was like a pay-per-view almost.
It wasn't like any other weekly episodic Monday Night Raw. It was almost more than a WrestleMania. Yeah, it was like a WrestleMania. I mean, they keep saying it feels like that. It felt like that. But their stories kind of culminated and ended and kind of left the cliffhanger for a new start next Monday or this Friday. I didn't anticipate it that much, but it certainly was hey, if you haven't watched our stuff in 5 years, we're going to catch you up tonight. And if you haven't watched our stuff since the Hogan days, we're going to make you wow this show. It certainly wasn't for, it over-delivered in that aspect, maybe under-delivered for like the hardcore wrestling fan who is up to date. Anyway, Big Hard, let's start. First off, I agree with you, my shoot brother. The murals and the opening kind of history of professional wrestling and everything in the past, kind of a 2-minute overall summary of how we got here to Netflix. I loved it. I even loved how Triple H broke down what wrestling was, from the carnies and a shoot versus a work, a heel versus a baby.
Yeah.
And I loved that angle and storytelling. And the whole time they're painting the faces of the guys that got us here. And then the drapes fall and the ultimate boss moment for the schnoz himself, big Triple H, or Mr. H as we call him these days. And his promo was great. I think sometimes when you rely on show them who you are, make a pop, like just let them pop, like do something to make them pop instead of asking them to. But okay. Rock's music hits. Big Hard, what'd you think of The Rock's opening segment?
I mean, it was definitely a cool. He's starting the show. I guess I expected something completely different when Rock came out. Um, doesn't mean that he's not going to be at Mania or he's not going to have a match with somebody, with Cody or Roman. It doesn't mean that, but it was kind of strange. It was like babyface Rock, you know. Now he always does the goosebumps thing and then he does the heel stuff, but it was just complete babyface. He acknowledged Cody Rhodes as being the number one player of the year. He acknowledged Roman Reigns. He even went over and shook Cody Rhodes' hand. And then they showed a clip of him in the back, possibly having some of his mana tequila with Cody Rhodes. Kind of funny how Rock is chugging out of the tequila bottle, and then he gets in his car and drives away.
Right,
but whatever.
Rock, I saw that.
Yeah, but he probably barely sipped any. But it was definitely weird because, but honestly, he is on the board of directors. So maybe this is just his way of coming out. It's very political type thing. They're thanking the Netflix people. They're thanking everybody behind the scenes. And it was definitely good, but it wasn't what I thought. And then when he ended it saying that he's going to have a close eye on the tribal combat match, then I was thinking, okay, this is where it flips. This is where, Rock is maybe going to interfere, but he didn't. And he came out and acknowledged Roman Reigns again, and I think it was definitely a good segment. It was just not what I was expecting, so I can't say that it was bad. It was just completely 180 of what I thought.
I completely agree, Big Hard. Couple things though, I underestimated. This is the WWE debuting on this stage. We want to show who we are. The Rock. I didn't expect Ambassador Rock to be there.
Yeah,
now, I understand why you do that. I get it. And also, Rock did it awesomely. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm using it. The reason I say that is because he comes out, gets the huge pop, the goosebumps. He's shaking babies' hands and signing autographs on the way to the ring, handing his title belt to his kids. It's full baby Rock. And I liked how, and even we'll talk about Tribal Combat, even as The Rock is cutting his We Love Wrestling and we're on Netflix now promo, Ambassador Rock promo, there was still that inkling of, man, what a dick.
Yeah,
like that inkling of you're so ambassador. You're so nice. Here's the Ulafala, my brother in Samoan culture. You're waiting for Rock to stab him right in the back.
And it's coming probably.
Right. And that ambassador, I'm the Rock, look at me character, that's what I got the sense of with all that. I had one massive problem in the booking of this segment. Okay. And honestly, I can't wrap my head around how this happened. Who was in the front row?
Cody Rhodes.
Who else was in the front row? Celebrities,
The
fans,
Rock's mom.
Other wrestlers.
Yeah.
Marks. Who? You're telling me you're undisputed?
Not Calloway.
You're undisputed. That's right. He was coming out later on the bike. You're undisputed champions in the front row?
Yeah, why is he in the front row?
Would Stone Cold Steve Austin as your champion be in the front row?
No, he's in the back, and he'll come out if he's got something to say.
So why is Cody Rhodes your guy? I ask you this. You haven't watched the product in 5 years. You watched that show last night. Do you know Cody Rhodes is the top guy in the company?
I mean, besides The Rock mentioning it.
And
Cody did come out during the match, but
which got a huge pop. I saw some things online where he got the entrance. What a pop when Rhodes comes in.
And you are right on that because Cody Rhodes didn't even need to be out there in the crowd, and The Rock didn't even need to acknowledge him.
So so what did that do for Cody? You know what it did for Cody? It was The Rock saying, "Good job, pal. Good job, little guy. Good
Yeah.
job. Hey, good job, my fan.
Yeah, tell Mama Rhodes The Rock
And
still
then
says hello.
And then Cody's got to be in the crowd like, oh, Rock, you're so funny.
He's laughing about it. Like, if
without
that should have been the
title.
moment where Cody Rhodes jumps the barricade and comes up, and then they have a face-to-face.
Here's how I would have booked a Big Heart. First off, he's in the front row like a fan, and he doesn't have the title with him.
Yeah, what is that? Took it.
Tell me how that makes sense. Now here's how I would have booked.
Next to him took it.
I would yeah. Maybe Tantalizing Tony had it. Shout out to him, man. He was there.
Yeah, shout out to Tantalizing Tony, man. He's at all these good shows.
I love it.
I wish.
He was even on Busted Open.
Yeah.
He called in.
It's insane.
Okay, so here's how the Softie would have booked this. And tell me, Big Heart, what you think. Because this made no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. I would have, of course, Triple H has to open the show. I think they got that right. He's got to do it. Number 2 guy, that thing drops. Triple H, are you ready? We're on Netflix. Bang, boom. Cody Rhodes music hits. Okay? Cody's number 2. Cody's music should have hit. He got the crowd pop. He'll get the whoa. Here's him with the title. Before he even gets to say a word, bang, Rock's music. And you get the stare down between the two, and they're both in the ring. And they can do the handshake there. That's fine. I get all that. It's fine.
I think they were just trying to do the Rock as the ambassador of the show. They were letting him
put your world
start the show off.
You don't put your world champion in the front row without the title.
Well, that is a weird thing to do. I think it was just for The Rock to get the good graces of the Netflix executives, the board of directors. It was just a good grace thing to start off the Raw Netflix
I get
era.
why you put Rock in there. Now, if this is part of the story where next week or the week after Rock comes out and says, hey, we had this big blow-off show on Netflix. We debuted. Who was my biggest fan in the front row? Cody Rhodes. I'm still whipping his ass.
And hey, maybe this does lead into the story at a later date. But yeah, tonight I think it was just Rock just getting goodwill. And
the only other thing that
graces.
But you didn't have to put Cody. Why would you put your champ? The only thing that makes sense to me, other than that, is Cody just came out and wanted to see the thing live.
Yeah, maybe he just wanted to be out there in the crowd, and
Rock wasn't going to even acknowledge him, or he was just going to say something, and Cody wasn't going to be there until he made the save in the tribal combat, which got a huge pop. But I didn't understand if they booked it that way, and Hunter or whoever said, Cody, go down to the front row and have this moment with I didn't get that at all. I thought it was terrible.
But then they did have the match, and the match was good.
Tribal combat, yeah.
But it was a good match. You had the OG Bloodline coming out. You had the new Bloodline coming out. And then the spot that I didn't expect was Kevin Owens coming in and hitting the stunner. I was like,
beautifully done.
I was laying back watching it, and as soon as that happened, I'm up like this, and I was like so emotionally invested. I was like feeling like I'm a little kid again, and I'm like, oh my God, Roman's about to lose. And then Cody Rhodes came out. Roman ended up winning. Then you get Paul Heyman, who was giving great facials the whole time.
Yeah.
Making it look like this is like the most important thing in the world. And then The Rock came out and gave Roman the Ula Fala. So even though it seems like maybe they're pushing away from it, I don't think they would have done all this other stuff like him coming at Bad Blood. I think tonight was just like a throwaway thing where it's just Rock's getting goodwill. So I think the whole thing is it's going to come back full circle where, Rock comes out and he claims that, I did that just to appease everybody. And, I am the final boss. So you might think you're the tribal chief right now, but I'm the high chief. And now we're going to have a high chief versus the tribal chief match. And it could take a couple weeks or months. The Royal Rumble's not too far away. We got a month for that. So all in all, I think it was a great start of the show. And it took up like the whole first hour.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I looked at my phone and it was like a half hour in before a wrestling move happened.
Yeah.
The thing I got from The Rock, especially when he's granting Roman the tribal chief, again, I really got that sense of when's he gonna stab him in the back? Like
Yeah, I
him
thought that. Like,
standing
Rock's
behind.
better. I'm better than you.
Roman did a couple extra throw the ones up spots where you could have
Yeah.
saw. I was almost envisioning a steel
I was
chair
thinking
to the
Rock's.
back. Yeah.
Yep.
So
I thought that.
I in that aspect, I definitely not for 1 second did not think that at some point, and probably at WrestleMania, we're not going to see Rock and Roman in the same ring in a title match with Cody. I still think that's where they're going.
We're seeing it.
And Triple H actually came out on somebody's podcast. He did loads of media, but he said they asked him. They said, "Do you have both nights' main events picked right now?" And he says, "I do, but that doesn't mean that's where we're going." He says, "I have them picked. I don't have the finishes booked." And you always get calls from this guy. Maybe you go a different direction. But as of right now, they have moments picked. Now, again, the Rock and Roman thing, that's right there on the table. They didn't lose any momentum there. They have plenty of time if they want to book that for Mania. Like you said, you have Rumble spots. You have loads of time for that. Where I didn't see it going this way, which in the WWE's Triple H's way of thinking, where I think the booking that they did for Roman to beat Solo and all the weeks promos leading up where Solo was saying to his bloodline members, with all due respect, I'm the tribal chief, you listen to Solo, but if Roman beats me, you will acknowledge him and I will acknowledge him. So this kind of booking, the way that they did this, it really gives the WWE an opportunity to book the rest of the bloodline and the Usos and Sami Zayn into a more compelling story where they still have Rock and Roman. That's sold and signed and delivered. But now you can build bigger moments for the rest of the bloodline. So I thought it was good booking.
And I think Roman's coming to Raw. There's a little segment backstage with Heyman and Roman and Heyman saying that they need a platform for Roman Reigns. And I think that's going to be Raw, Netflix, global. I think maybe things are going to change. And, then they had that little tease where the door closes and it's 2K25. So I think Roman's going to be on the cover of the new game. I think January 27th is when they're dropping a trailer for the game. So this isn't even over by a long shot. So all in all, great Bloodline segment. They have so many places they can go with this.
And if you didn't catch WrestleMania or you haven't been up and up on their programming, you watch this Bloodline, all the interferences, everyone and their mothers came out, the pop for Rhodes, the stunner from KO, the Fatu, you'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But then we had Cena coming out.
What do you think of Cena?
I thought it was a very overdrawn promo. I know that, Cena's back, so we're going to, hear him talk. But I think he went on like maybe 2 or 3 minutes longer than he needed to. All in all, a good promo. Talked about his beginning, where he is now, and basically declared himself for the Rumble. Said that he's not going to win the title, but then you can't say never in WWE. So he's punching his ticket at the Royal Rumble. And, it's possible that Cena wins, but I think it's going to be more adversity for him. So I think him not winning the Royal Rumble, having to go to Elimination Chamber, not getting a match at WrestleMania, possibly winning the title at maybe SummerSlam. So all in all, good segment. It was good to see Cena, but it could have been shortened up a little bit because The Rock's promo was very long. Like I said, we're already almost an hour and a half into the show, and we've had one match and a lot of talking. But still pretty good promo by Cena. I always enjoy Cena coming out, and I like Cena's movies. They're all pretty damn good, and I think Cena's farewell tour is going to be sweet. I'm really hoping we get to go to SummerSlam because that's going to be his last SummerSlam. Obviously, all these pay-per-views going to be the last, and I definitely want to get a chance to see Cena one last time in person before he's done.
No, we got to go that Saturday. We should go Saturday to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Again, if you're a Cena guy or you left wrestling when he left wrestling and haven't watched since, and you click on last night and you turn on Monday Night Raw for the first time in 5 years, whatever, and you see Cena, he comes out, and I think he did a good job laying out his kind of mission statement. He got his Cena moment, okay? Like I really like how they are turning this 17-time champion into, again, to Cena's point, if he just main evented the Royal Rumble and went on for the title, everyone would be like, for what? Why? They're playing this into he's going to hustle, loyalty, respect his way, never give up, scratch and claw to do this thing the right way. That's going to get the fans into it a lot more efficiently, and I think it's awesome. I agree with you. It went a little long, but also I hope that this is the last, it's John Cena thing until the end now.
Yeah. Let's just see him do matches. And that's kind of it.
Let's put his run together now. He kind of let his mission statement be heard. He explained it, everything. We don't need to hear it again. Now we know what it is.
No, we're good for a little while. But yeah, great segment. I like I said, I enjoy seeing Cena, and this is going to be a great ending run for him, I think. I
could really see Cena Final Four of Rumble.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the Rumble's going to be stacked this year. But one moment that I loved is the next one. We got Rhea Ripley winning the title back, and I thought she was going to lose, man. That Liv hit that Oblivion on the steel chair. You had the Raquel interference, and she comes back, hits 2 Riptides, stacks Liv Morgan up, and gets the pin. And then the ending was great with Dominic coming in. I mean, and Pat McAfee, oh man, he is great.
He adds so much to the program.
Just ripping into Dominic, and Dom comes in and he wants the hug from Rhea, and she just freaking kicks him right in the nuts.
Yep.
Riptides him. So I think, like we were saying in the prediction, that this feud is over now. Right. I think Rhea is moving on from Liv. They could possibly have a rematch at some point, because Liv might have to get a rematch. But I think the feud is over. She took out Liv. She took out Dom. That's it.
Right.
That's it right now. Rhea needs to move on.
I saw some fans online bitching and moaning about Taker coming out at the end. Why add him to it?
Well, why not? I don't know.
It's the Undertaker. It's the Netflix debut. This is a huge night. What? Yeah. First, it's the Undertaker. Why are you mad about the Undertaker coming out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm mad that Stone Cold didn't come out at all. But Taker comes out.
Yeah, right.
They do the pose at the end. You know what I mean? And they got the fireworks going off. And I think it was a good moment. I don't know. It's just it just solidifies Rhea Ripley as a badass too. So it's just
and it was awesome too, because it almost seemed like Rhea, for a shoot, brother, didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, her expression when she heard the dong.
She was like, I didn't know this was coming.
Yeah, it was great. The facials were good.
And also, Chris, I saw. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, big hard. Shoot, brother. I saw a genuine, excitement from the performers as the show went on. It seemed to me like guys and gals were going back through the curtain saying, you guys got to feel the energy out there. It seemed like that for sure.
They were excited, man.
I think Taker came back and was pumped up and ready to go. Now, let's move into the next segment.
Oh, this is great. This is probably one of my favorite moments of the night.
The music hits. The arena is blacked out. Okay? We've already had – the crowd has gone through so much already, the pops that they started with. And now Travis Scott up in the bleachers, up in the top section with some hooch on him, dude.
He's smoking a blunt.
How does that get by?
And I understand that it's legal in California. It's legal in a lot of states. But the thing is, you're never really allowed to smoke inside these arenas. So
with kids all around.
Hey, I'll tell you, I smoked inside Lincoln Financial, but it was kind of outside in a little corridor. That was pretty awesome. That was a great Mania moment for me, was smoking a joint at WrestleMania in Lincoln Financial while a match is going on and I could see it. But just looking over and seeing Travis Scott having a blunt, and he's just sitting there smoking it. He's got the beer in hand. He's got the custom hardcore title over his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he's just walking down the crowd with Jey Uso, just smoking a blunt.
So
I would have loved if Jey would have took a hit. That would have been amazing.
And Triple H came out in the post thing, and he goes, "I'm so happy Jey said no."
I mean, that would have been great, but that entrance was sick.
Travis gets a huge pop, and you can see it in his eyes. Now, here's a guy that sells out 70,000 seat arenas. Sells out a Link, the Lincoln Financial Field
by himself,
and has a concert, and the crowd's going crazy. He comes out and has that look of, holy shit, this is nothing like what I'm used to. That's got to be cool for the guys in the locker room. So Jey comes out, and they yeet their way all the way to the ring. And Travis Scott, I mean, his mouth was like wide open. He's yelling at the top of his lungs. You could tell the little kid was there in him.
He was having a good time.
It was so fun to see his just genuine reaction, where you could tell he went back through Gorilla and was like, I would not be surprised if he's like, dude, I got to do this.
Now, I wonder whose call that was for him to have the blunt, or if he just
that was no one's call. That got through.
If it's just, hey, it's Travis Scott, we're gonna let this guy do what he wants to do.
Nah, dude, that's
because if that was somebody in the crowd that lights up a joint, lights up a blunt, they're getting kicked out, dude. I don't care what stadium you're in. I mean, I've seen people at the ECW arena get kicked out for vaping. So that was cool. That was definitely a badass moment. And Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, just the way they're talking. Pat McAfee's like, I'm yeeting myself right now, Cole. And Cole's like, well, don't yeet all over me.
I don't have a new suit yet. And Cole got up on the desk. Good. You could tell he wanted that moment too.
Yeah.
Dude, cool. To your point, the McAfee Cole duo is up there. Like, I'll put that right there with JR and Jared King.
I mean, hey, I will still say that I like JR and King better. But
the OG. But
McAfee and Cole, they are a great team. And I didn't think I would like McAfee when he first started, but I mean, the guy has grown on me, and he brings a sense of like realness, a sense of he's a fan.
Right. Yeah, those crowd pops, like when Travis Scott's music hit, he lets he's like, you can hear him go like, ho, in the mic.
It was good. So good.
It's a dude that you're sitting on the couch with, watching it with. That's who McAfee is.
And the match was good. To me, it seemed like at this point, maybe the crowd was a little dull during the match, but during both entrances, they were right there. Good match, though. I can't say it's a bad match. I was surprised that Jey got the win. It was a sudden win. He kind of like, I don't know if he was maybe baiting him in with the whole, like, he passed out and Drew's, now he's smiling, he's cocky, kind of just like at Mania. He gets full of himself, and then Jey did the roll up, got him with the 1, 2, 3, and I think it was good. I think there's going to be a rematch, and I think Drew's going to destroy Jey. But I think that was a good call for that night. I mean, the crowd loves Jey, and he can take another loss now. Like, Drew can just come and destroy him at this point.
Drew said he was secondhand high.
That's great.
So from a high to a low.
Oh man, I thought this was great too, though.
Now, before we get into it, let me just pose a question to you, Big Hard, because this whole show had Stone Cold Steve Austin written all over it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna just pose you a question. We're gonna leave it here. The WWE going with Hogan's beer and not signing Steve Austin's beer. Do you think that's why?
I don't know.
Last night?
I mean, maybe. And, Austin kind of says that he doesn't really want to come out and do the appearances, I guess. But to be honest,
home state, man. That's his home state.
Could be
he's right there.
And I think WWE's gonna
not home state, but he's right there.
They're gonna regret this whole Hogan partnership, because as much as Hogan is the guy from WWE, WWF, basically what launched WWF when Vince bought the company, and he was the star. But he has done so many things to have people not like him at this point. And I know that a lot of people will say it's the political beliefs, but I think that has nothing to do with it. I think it's all the other crap that he has done.
I completely disagree.
Put out there.
I completely disagree.
Well, I mean, I could see the political thing too, but the thing is, they cheered Taker. There was not one boo for Undertaker, and he was very hard on the Trump train. And I will say that Hogan was too, but I think there's a lot of stuff, the racist comments that Hogan made, the Bubba the Love Sponge things, the fact that Hogan was this big politician in the back, how people say that Hogan kind of is not a good wrestler and that he politicked his way to getting everything that he's had in the wrestling business. And I just don't think people want to see him anymore, to be honest. And I almost felt bad for Jimmy Hart, but I guess he's so far up Hogan's butt at this point that
I saw something where they both went back and Hulkster went to Jimmy Hart and says, "Wow, they really didn't like you out there."
Yeah. That had nothing. I don't think anybody hates Jimmy Hart, but I think he's definitely going to get roped in with it. But
dude,
I expected him to get booed though when he came out. I was like, they're going to boo him, dude. Like they are going to boo him.
I completely. So my take on it, Big Hard, was just I was disappointed in the crowd there because whether you love him or hate him, Hogan, to me, is still the biggest reason why the WWE, when you say goes global, Hulk Hogan did that. Okay? Yeah. Watch McMahon's documentary on Netflix that now Raw's on Netflix. Hogan, I came away thinking, wow, dude, Hogan's the greatest of all time. His influence on the business is unmatched.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Am I wrong with that?
I didn't know if Andre was gonna do the job. I didn't know what was gonna happen at the end of that match. I had no idea going into it. That's a shoot, brother.
That doesn't work for me, brother. Is the only thing that taints his legacy because you have Undertaker come out and say, tell stories of Hogan even trying to hold him back and lie about.
The pile driver,
a tombstone spot,
and you clearly see it on video. If you watch that, you can see Hogan's head was like this far from the ground.
Now, I can understand why that would turn you to say, "What was that about, brother?" But to anything else, as far as like politicking in the back, and he doesn't earn this and that, like. Okay, yeah, he certainly had creative control, and I don't agree with promoters giving him that control the way that he had it. But, dude, we're not in the locker room. We don't know what goes on. That dude drew money.
He did draw money. That dude
drew money. When we talk about everything we don't agree with AEW or even the WWE or anything with wrestling, when you talk about a guy that could do the least and
make the most.
Draw the most, a la Roman Reigns. That's why he's the greatest right now. And I love Cody, but Cody's out there, workhorse champion. Roman doesn't have to do a damn thing, and we'll pay to watch him. That was Hogan. And this was completely Los Angeles, liberal town, booing a Trump guy. And I thought it was disappointing because that guy, no matter what you say, limps around nowadays because he laid his body out day in and day out, made a lot of money, made a lot of mistakes. But dude, who am I to judge? Dude makes a racist remark. I don't know what he's going through right there. And then he apologizes. You got to get over it.
And I think the thing is that
this cancel culture thing, this I hate Trump thing, that was it last night. I thought it was a disappointment for legends. And I thought it was a disappointment to a guy like Hogan that really paved the way, man. When you talk about paving the way, no one's done it like him. My take.
I definitely agree with you, but I still think it has something to do with the other stuff that he's done, And I think, he did apologize for things that he said, but I think people perceive it and I take it this way a little bit as well, is the fact that when he's apologizing, he's almost apologizing as if like, sorry that I got caught. Sorry that it was on video. Not sorry for actually saying the things that he said or doing the things that he did. And like the whole Bubba the Love Sponge thing, he really made himself look bad. But he really was drinking a lot during that time, and he was popping pills. And
Big Hard, even at that, dude, he just got done like this.
He got divorced.
His kids were against him, and his best friend at the time, I guess, Bubba the Love Sponge goes, "Hey, you want to sleep?
Advantage of him.
You want to sleep with my hot wife?" And he's like telling stories about how he denied all that until he like gave in, and then his best friend records him and puts that on blast, and now he's got to sue his best friend. Dude,
it's a mess.
That's a shitty situation that I'm not going to judge a guy for.
What he should have done was just went heel halfway through that promo.
And that's where I was going, Big Hard.
But I don't think he thought of that, but
he had to.
I don't know if Triple H would have been pissed or not, but he should have just went heel. He should have just been like,
power through.
I did everything for you people. And you're going to boo me, and then he should have dropped the mic and just walked out. But
dude, and that's all I was thinking of. All these fans that, I hate Hulk Hogan. I don't care.
And a lot of the people that were there.
Like, I hate Donald Trump. I hate Hulk Hogan. All of those fans that were saying that, if Hogan turned it on and started healing out on them, and then you hit a babyface's music, and you said, if you buy a ticket tomorrow night, we're all buying tickets.
Yeah. And then you have Cody, then hit Cody Rhodes' music and have Cody Rhodes come out and take him out.
Hogan Rhodes next week, we'd all buy tickets and we'd all watch. So he's still a draw. My point.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks for him as a person because I think he thought he was going to get cheered. And I think WWE is going to regret kind of having to put his beer logo on their mat. And yes, in the end, they should have went with Stone Cold IPA and promoted that because they would have never got any type of backlash. The only backlash from last night was that whole segment, but let's move past that.
Okay. All I'm saying, and I don't care, Big Hard, is all I'm saying is when I got done voting this year, I played Hulk Hogan's theme song loud and proud in my Honda while I drove home with the window.
And I will tell you, the Hulk Hogan theme song, I Am a Real American, is one of the best songs. I don't care what anybody says. I'm trying to think of somebody's, maybe The Brood I might like a little bit better than The Real American, but that is a great theme song, and everybody can sing along to it. I don't care who you are. And yes, I grew up a Hogan fan, but I can understand where people are coming from. But then I can also understand that he's a legend, and you just, instead of booing, maybe you just don't say anything, because not saying anything means more than even giving him attention.
Look, if I'm a wrestler that worked in the locker room with him back in the day and I have heat with him, I can understand that. Like if he stuck me in the back so many times and held me down, or not held me down, because I don't think wrestlers hold each other down. How stupid is that? The booker, like a good booker.
The booker's making the decision.
But if I'm a guy in WCW and Hogan was like, that don't work for me, brother, we're going to have to okay, there's heat there. I understand that. Undertaker, ruining his first title win. I understand that. There's heat there.
You know what I hate about Hogan is the fact that Bret Hart, WrestleMania 9, had the main event, had to lose to Yokozuna, even though he should have won that match. And Hogan comes out and does some stupid crap where he gets the title shot at the end of the WrestleMania 9, wins the title, and Bruce Pritchard on his podcast will say, "Oh, well, that's because we needed Hogan for the international tour.
Yeah.
We wanted him as champion." But yeah, I'm a Hogan guy. I like Hogan, but in WCW, it was Eric Bischoff that gave him that power.
I completely agree with you, Big Hard, and I can understand if fans are booing someone like that at the time because they're sick of this guy, and they can just sniff out the insincerity and the politics of the locker room. I don't think that's what this was. I thought this was all political, and it just came across to me as boo-boo face, little.
And it is Los
little
Angeles.
like I hate the world people.
It's a
That's
very
how it
blue
came across
area.
to me. And it was disappointing me with such a legend. Moving on.
What are you gonna do? Great main event we have coming up here.
And again, Big Hard, me and you did not call this correctly. We both said this was going to be a fight. It was going to be a DQ schmaz. It was going to go 10 minutes, something like that.
It was a banger.
They put on a Steamboat Savage main event.
I really want to see what I don't know if Dave Meltzer does ratings for individual matches on Raws, but I'd like to see what he gives this match, because I would almost think that Dave Meltzer would have to give this at least a 4 to 4.25. I mean, it was a great match. They were brutal with each other. Seth and Punk were on the outside doing some stuff that I was even like, oh man, I didn't think Punk was going to do that. And there was a couple spots where I thought maybe Punk, looked a little rusty possibly, but the guy's 46 years old. He put on a great performance. I don't care what anybody says. Pedigree on the announce table. The stomp, the double GTS at the end. Seth hitting him with his own finisher, the GTS. I mean, and then I'm looking at the picture right now. He's wearing. I mean, I'm sure he did this on purpose, but I wonder if this was just Punk's idea or if it was anybody above him's idea to wear the same jacket, because it is pretty funny that he's wearing that XXX jacket.
That's 100% for real. That's exactly why I wore that. And
that's gotta be.
He's posing to the camera with 3 X's. That's 100% Punk being Punk.
That was good. Again,
and
I mean, I thought this was a banger. I thought this was a banger for a main event. And like we said, we thought this was going to be a schmaz finish, just a fight, maybe a double DQ, double count out. I like the fact that Rollins was like in the ref's face telling him like, let this go, let us do our thing. And the ref was, giving it back to Seth, kind of like upset because he wants to keep order of this, but he also knows that like, maybe, hey, I do got to give these guys some leeway. It's Seth Rollins and CM Punk.
I thought the ref did. I love the ref saying, "Okay, but don't take advantage of me." Where he's almost he's keeping order, but he's also like
he's gonna let things slide. But hey, don't make me look like a chump. Don't make me look like a chump.
A couple things I loved as far as in ring for the complete show of Raw. I loved how Tribal Combat started, where they were headlock. They start with a headlock, and they're wrestling out of the headlock, showing struggle. It looked real. It gave that realism right at the start. Like these guys, it looks like a fight. I thought Punk and Seth, it started out with punches and chops, and it looked like a fight. They went outside to the ring, or outside the ring. They went into the crowd. Everything looked stiff. Everything looked like a real fight. These guys did the pedigree on the table.
Oh, that was good. That table's reinforced.
The table looked pretty cool, and there was no shot of that table breaking.
You know how many spots they had on that table? It didn't break once.
Not one. It wasn't no Spanish announce.
No.
Then the Punk goes to the top rope, does a off the top rope swinging neck breaker.
Oh, that was sick.
Nasty bump. These guys did a superplex. The GTS's the story, and if it's funny, Chris, when Punk won his first world title in AEW, he hits a GTS on Moxley. Moxley folds on top of him, and they go into another. That's exactly the finish that they did on Seth. So that's interesting how there's that comparison there. But what a banger of a match. Yeah. And it was funny because I thought they wouldn't give us enough, so we wanted more. But they gave us so much that the visual at the end where they're on either side and they're looking at each other, and Punk almost has that, I got you, he's the prick. See, I told you I'm the best in the world. And Seth is over there like recontemplating his whole life. Yeah. Like, this guy just beat me clean in the middle.
Clean.
What the hell do I do from here? I think it builds into Rumble where, again, or anything where now Seth, his lifelong mission is to get back his edge, and his edge is getting that win back on
beating Punk.
That's his whole life now.
And even him losing, he still has credibility because
100%.
it
Dude,
took
he's the
2
best worker.
GTSs to put him down. So
Right.
he lost clean, but he still looks good in defeat, which
And
is
now,
JR will always say that's the main thing. You can lose 10 matches in a row, but you got to look good in losing. And Rollins looked good last night, taking the L. This feud can simmer away for a little bit, and they can kind of go their own little ways for right now, but they are always going to come back. Like you said, the Rumble, there's going to be a little story inside the Royal Rumble, and then they're going to go away from each other a little bit, and then they're going to come back. Yeah, I love the way they ended it. They ended it in a way that it doesn't have to be a rematch next week.
Right. And you talk about credibility for Rollins. Listen to this, dude. Say what you want about Punk. Punk built Drew to become a much better character, much better professional wrestler, much more credibility. Think about the credibility Rollins is going to have when he did the ass kicker Rollins. Then he went into the Liberace Rollins. Ha 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 Rollins. Everyone loved it. He was world champion. He lost the world champion at WrestleMania. He got the injuries. Now he's back. Now you're going to see OG Seth Rollins, the ass kicker, come back.
Yeah.
And the rage. I thought he cut the best promo of his career on that Monday with Punk. The rage filled in his eyes. I'm going to come at. You're going to see Seth ditch the clothing, ditch the laugh, ditch the gimmick. And you're going to see kick-ass Seth Rollins. And at the end of this story, whether it's Punk beating Rollins and maybe getting a shot at Mania, or beating Rollins at Mania and then getting a shot at one more world title, whatever Punk is going to do, the number one thing he's going to do is build Seth into a killer. And at the end of this, say what you want about Punk, you can't step in the ring with him or on the microphone against him and not challenge yourself. And Punk right now is challenging Seth to become much better, and I'm for it.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, honestly, they both came out looking like superstars, and you know what? With Punk winning, I can honestly look back on it now and be like, that was the right call, because you want to build Punk up for WrestleMania, for a main event. Seth Rollins is already there. He doesn't need that. He's been wrestling for how long? Punk just came back and is starting to have some great matches. Hell in the Cell. Go back to the archives. Beating Drew in that feud and, definitely elevating Drew. I mean, Drew looks good in defeat now, too. He just lost to Jey Uso in a roll-up. But I still believe that Drew McIntyre is the man. And he lost the Punk feud. He still looks like the man. Punk is coming back. He may be an old-timer. People complain about him coming back.
I think
he is the reason that WWE is going a step above from where they were.
I think actually CM Punk is the most valuable to any company right now than he ever was in his career.
He's a ratings star, man.
I think his work in the ring, as far as he knows how to work in the ring and how to tell a story, is greater than ever. I think his work on the mic, his mind for wrestling and the business and storytelling has never been better. And I just want you to imagine the hook that this story has. Here's where the money is. If the Softies booking this, it's Punk beating Rollins on Monday Night Raw, the Netflix debut, the main event. Punk did it. He can move on to bigger, better things. He's at the Rumble. Seth eliminates him. And now Seth won't get out of Punk's way. And the burning passion that Rollins has to get this win back against Punk, and this burning passion for Punk to get Rollins out of his life, builds this just
huge
mania match where we are going to be on our feet wanting to see this blood feud culminate into Mania or wherever they blow this off. And I think it's Mania. I loved it, dude. I love the main event. And I love Punk's promo at the end of it on the post show, talking about anyone that didn't think I'd amount to nothing. Look at me now. I just main evented the biggest Raw in history. And Punk said it's the biggest thing he's done in his career. I didn't call it. We didn't call it. Hard and Soft didn't call it, but damn, was it good? And I thought if you had to give the show a 1 to 10, what would you give Raw's Netflix debut?
I'd say an easy 9. I mean, they hit on all cylinders. There were some lulls where there was maybe too much talking, too much this and that, but I think just from an overall perspective, I'd say a 9 out of 10. You can't really give much out of. You can't really give anything a 10 out of 10. I mean, that's got to be a perfect show. If The Rock would have turned on Roman Reigns, that would have been a 10 out of 10. But 9 out of 10. I think it's great. I was kind of upset that they took out the whole Penta match, and I'm kind of upset because I think they're just debuting Penta versus Chad Gable. I think it will be a great match. Mm-hmm. And they're still in San Jose, California next week, and I think that's going to be. I think he's going to get a great pop, so I'm excited about that. So I think next week's Raw is going to be good too. We got the Women's Intercontinental title match for the belt. We have Finn Balor versus Damian Priest, which I'm not really too excited about, but I think it will be a good match. I think maybe their feud will kind of end here too, and it's definitely Penta that's coming back. So I think it's going to be a great next week as well, and I think this week was great. I had fun watching it. I wasn't sitting there bored at all. I loved
the build. It was the big time fight feel. You had the celebrities in the arena like an MMA, UFC card. I loved that. I thought it was a great showing, and I'd love to see the numbers now because you know that there's going to be some kind of rating. We'll see how many homes were watching this. And I also love how I fell asleep for Punk Rollins last night. Woke up this morning before work, and while I was stretching and whatever in the morning, Softie was doing his thing. I clicked on Netflix and watched the whole thing. Fast forwarded right through the commercials. I loved it.
It's perfect. I love that aspect. Just right on Netflix. If you miss it, you can just come back and watch it. Fast forward, rewind, do what you got to do. It's great, man. I had a great time watching it. Glad we got back on here and reviewed it because I'm fresh from watching it last night. So I think this was the perfect time to do it. Nation, let us know in the comments what you thought of the show. Did you think Randall was full of the crock? Do you think that anything was bad? What do you think was great? Let us know. And, let us shout you out. And just to let you know, we're almost at the 300 viewer mark. So just come on, give us a subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, throw a comment out there, hit that notify bell so you know when we're dropping new content. You know the Softies over here making little short reels. Do it up. And if you want anything out of us, let us know in the comments, man. Let us know what matches you want to see.
Big Hard's getting hot. Big Hard's hot.
I'm hot. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Meltzer, better than Triple H, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Well,
all right. Softie's hitting that go home button. Big Hard, is there anything else that the nation needs to know?
Spend my days. Oh no, that's the wrong thing. Basically the last thing I got to say to everybody is if you're not hard, you're soft.
You're damn right.